Well, good evening. Glad you could join us here on TV47 Weekend. My name is Musa Salah. Coming up in the next 60 minutes. Tonight, Kericho Deputy Governor Susan Kikwai succumbs to COVID-19.
I have to say without fear of contradiction that our Deputy Governor tested of COVID, and it is the disease which took toll on her.
As the third wave of COVID-19 continues to ravage Hada, thousands of Tanzanians pay their last respect to their fallen former president John Magufuli. An emotional day it was for some ahead of his burial on Thursday next week.
Hiyo wananchi mskini naanza kukusha.
Shule inafunga, madarasa inafunga, hoteli inafunga, kila biashara yote anasimama.
Also tonight, over 700,000 residents of Mandera County are a step away from a humanitarian crisis following months of drought.
We are doing water tracking to all those centers, 320. We are also drilling contingency boreholes.
When it rains, we need to harvest and prepare the reservoirs for the coming rains so that we can harvest enough runoff.
Welcome to the broadcast. Anwa Irimu is our sign language interpreter. TV47 Weekend begins right now. Kericho Deputy Governor Susan Kikwai is dead. Susan, who was admitted at the Siloam Hospital Intensive Care Unit for about 2 weeks, is reported to have succumbed to COVID-19. President Uhuru Kenyatta has eulogized Kikwai as a devoted public servant who was deeply committed to the well-being and progress of the nation, as Zainab Mohammed now reports.
It is with deep sorrow that I have to announce the passing on of our beloved Deputy Governor, His Excellency Susan Kikwai.
About 10 a.m. Saturday morning, the country woke up to the sad news of the death of Kericho Deputy Governor Susan Kikwai. Confirming the news, Kericho Governor Paul Chepkwony said the deceased had been admitted at the Siloam Hospital Intensive Care Unit for about 2 weeks before losing the battle to COVID-19.
My Deputy Governor was taken ill a few days at Siloam Hospital, and she was responding well to treatment, only to lose the battle this morning at 10 a.m. Say without fear of contradiction that our Deputy Governor tested of COVID, and it is the disease which took toll on her this morning.
Several government leaders have eulogized the departed, including President Uhuru Kenyatta, who eulogized Kikwai as a devoted public servant who was deeply committed to the well-being and the progress of the nation. Many termed her as a courageous woman who sincerely served not only the people of Kericho, but the entire nation.
On my own behalf and that of my family, and on behalf of the county government of Kericho, I send my deepest condolences to the family, friends, relatives, and the people of Kericho. I feel deeply saddened at this sudden death.
Condolences to the family, her friends, and many of the people who knew her in her line of profession. Madam Susan Kikwai is one of our foremost daughters as the people of Kericho. We are proud of her achievements, both as our deputy governor and during the time that she served in the national government.
Susan, who was currently serving her second term as Kericho Deputy Governor, has served in several positions in the national government, including the Managing Director of Kenya Investments Authority under the Ministry of Finance between the years 2005 and 2012. Zainab Mohammed, TV47.
Well, thank you so much, Zainab, for that report. Now, Tanzania is still mourning the death of former President John Pombe Magufuli. Magufuli's body was today laid at the Uhuru Stadium in Dar es Salaam, where thousands of Tanzanians came to pay their last respect to the fifth president. His body will be taken to 3 more regions before he is laid to rest at his ancestral home in Chato district. The body of the late Tanzanian President John Pombe Magufuli left State House in Dar es Salaam at around 8 in the morning in the escort of the Tanzanian military. Thousands Thousands of people lined up along the roads leading to Uhuru Stadium to bid goodbye to their president, who died last Wednesday of heart complications, a condition that the president had for over 10 years. Thousands of mourners dropping flowers on the road as the military convoy slowly and majestically rode the late president in one of his final journeys. His wife Janet Magufuli, weak and feeble, her knees giving her way, not believing that she would be saying goodbye to her husband this soon. Magufuli was remembered as selfless leader who devoted his life to public service.
Alikuwa mtu wa imani na mtu wa haki. Alimpa Mungu yale yaliyompasa kama kiumbe wake. Aliwapa wengine mastahili yao na pia akajipa mwenyewe yale ambayo ni mastahili yake kama kiumbe wa Mungu. Na kwa sababu hiyo tunayo kila sababu ya kuamini kwamba anastahili kuombewa.
As the Requiem Mass came to an end, his successor, President Samia Suluhu, led the residents of Dar es Salaam in paying their last respects. Thousands of Tanzanians lining up to view his lifeless body for the last time. Grief overwhelming some.
Maumivu ni makubwa na mateso ni makubwa ya kumpoteza baba.
From Dar es Salaam, Magufuli's body will be moved to Dodoma, then to Mwanza and Geita regions before he makes his last trip to Chato district, where he'll be buried on Thursday next week. According to Tanzanian government spokesman Dr. Hassan Abbas, the funeral program is ready, with President Samia expected to announce the funeral plans soon. Still on mourning Magufuli, President Uhuru Kenyatta this morning visited the Tanzanian High Commission in Muthaiga, Nairobi, to pay his respects to the late former President of Tanzania, John Pombe Magufuli. In a procession from State House, President Uhuru Kenyatta was accompanied by Speakers Justin Muturi of the National Assembly and Kenneth Lusaka of the Senate, Acting Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu, Cabinet Secretaries Fred Matiang'i of Interior, Amina Mohamed of Sports, Margaret Kobia of Public Services, and Adan Mohamed of the East African Community met the High Commission John Stephen Simbachawene in Muthaiga to condole Magufuli. President Kenyatta has insisted that Kenya will help the new leadership in Tanzania, as well as maintain a solid relationship with the country. Marcus, rekebisha saizi. 1 minute 40 seconds.
Tanzania na Kenya ni kama ndugu mapacha. Yale ambayo yanatendeka Tanzania, hata sisi hapa kwetu tunatukuza. Na sisi tuko hapa kuonesha solidarity yetu na wenzetu wa Tanzania na kuungana pamoja na jamii ya hayati Rais John Pombe Magufuli na wananchi wote. Tukasema hatuwezi kukosa kuja na kuonesha umoja wetu nani wakati huu mgumu. Kwa hivyo balozi, kwa niaba yangu, kwa niaba ya serikali na kwa niaba ya viongozi wale wote ambao tuko hapa na Wakenya wote, pokea hizo rambirambi ambazo kupitia kwako imfikie Rais Suluhu Hassan. Mwambie tunamwombea wakati anaongoza nchi kwa muda mgumu kama huu, lakini ajue pia ako na ndugu zake ambao wanasimama naye, wanamwombea, na tutashirikiana kuhakikisha ya kwamba kazi njema ambayo ndugu yetu alianza itaendelea, na uhusiano wetu pia utaendelea kuimarika kulingana na vile tumekuwa kutoka tupate uhuru wetu kama nchi Tanzania na Kenya.
Away from Tanzania, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has refuted claims that the plane that crashed early Saturday morning in Marsabit County was ferrying examination papers for KCSE and KCPE scheduled for Monday. The early morning plane accident claimed the lives of 2 pilots who were the only passengers in the plane that crashed at Kofi Ambaya in Marsabit. The light aircraft, said to have been on a mapping mission, departed from the Wilson Airport in Nairobi at around 8:20 in the morning with only 2 people on board, and is said to have crashed at around 10 minutes past 10. Officials say the fixed-wing plane crashed as it navigated a foggy area while flying low and was badly damaged, killing the 2 pilots on board on the spot. The cause of the accident is yet to be established.
Watu waweke some distance. Watokeni. Hiyo kitu inaweza tafadhali tusoge mbali. Wewe watokeni. Wewe nana uko ndani, Kuna mtu ndani bana. Wewe natoka? Hao vijana ndio wamekaa ndani.
Now, the new Kenya Airways ultra-modern cold storage facility is set to play a key role in the importation and distribution of the much-needed COVID-19 vaccines. This is according to Health CAS Dr. Rashid Aman, who now says that the world-class facility will benefit not just Kenya, but the African continent in the fight against the virus. Accompanying the CAS during an inspection tour of the facility at the Kenya Airways Cargo Center in JKIA, Kenya Airways CEO Alan Kivuka hailed the project as yet another timely investment for the national carrier.
So our pharma facility helps and supports government when it comes to the cold chain facility of importation of imported medication to support the endeavor of government in this fight against diseases that are there. So in addition to that, also we know that government is the biggest importer and user of medication. So we want to play that part in supporting that endeavor, because as the biggest importer of pharmaceuticals, and we as the airline of choice, the airline in the country, we want to play our part in supporting government in making these medicines available and in good condition, because all the way from loading, transportation, offloading, and storage, we have the facility to make sure that these pharmaceuticals are at the right temperature, in the right condition, and also that they arrive in the right time.
The investment that KQ has undertaken to put up this pharma cold chain storage system really looks to be world-class standards in terms of the facility itself. But more importantly, I think the idea of investing in this area is very important, because this is an area that I'm sure that KQ will reap its investments from this facility as we move forward. The need for cold storage systems in airports and freight terminals has always been a problem, especially in our developing world.
Well, we do hope that cold storage facility at the JKIA will come in handy in the distribution of the much-needed COVID-19 vaccines in the country. It's time to take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with more. Remember, you can follow this live broadcast on www.tv47.co.ke.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories. At Trisent School of Medical Health, Science and Technology, we offer highly competitive courses tailor-made to suit your needs. These include certificate and diploma in theatre technology, medical engineering, nutrition and dietetics, radiography and sonography, science lab, health records, environmental health science, counseling psychology, applied biology, social work and community development, information and communication technology, among others. Register now at our Nairobi campus in Nairobi West around Nyayo National Stadium on 0700-129536. Our Juja campus next to Jomo Kenyatta University on 0700-000760. And our Kisumu campus opposite Swan Center, Oginga Odinga Street on 0703-201229. Trisent School of Medical Health, Science and Technology, where careers come to...
Tamasha Paints, rangi ambayo imeimarika, rangi ya kipekee. Tamasha Paints ni kampuni ya kimataifa ya kuuza aina zozote za rangi ambazo zimechanganywa na teknolojia ya kisasa. Tunakuletea rangi aina ya Cover Matte, Silk Vinyl, Vinyl Matte, Weather Guard, Super Gloss na High Gloss. Pia tuna mafunzo ya kutengeneza rangi zilizopita mafunzo ya kimataifa. Tunafunza kutoka mwanzo hadi mwisho kwa muda wa miezi miwili. Shule yetu ina vyumba vya malazi kwa malipo ya shilingi 40,000 pekee. Tunapatia wanafunzi wetu cheti inayotambulika kote nchini, kuwatafutia attachment na kuwapatia kazi wanapomaliza masomo. Tunakuuzia mashini ya kutengeneza rangi na kemikali za hali ya juu kwa bei nafuu. Kwa maelezo zaidi tutembelee Kangundo Road, Choka area karibu na stage ya Hurlingham, ama uwasiliane nasi kupitia 0712222893. Rangi si rangi, rangi ni Tamasha Paints.
Accelerate your career growth by studying at Jordan College of Technology Thika, the leading technical, business and hospitality training institution in Kenya. As we celebrate 13 years of quality training and academic excellence, we invite you to apply for the various courses during our April 2021 intake. We offer over 50 government-approved diploma and certificate courses in catering and hotel management, journalism, electrical and electronics engineering, fashion design and garment making, hair and beauty, business courses, plumbing, ICT, secretarial, tourism, laboratory science, nutrition and dietetics, community development, driving classes, among others. With qualified lecturers, a dynamic approach to teaching and state-of-the-art training facilities, Jordan College is making world-class education affordable and accessible to all. Our graduates are sought after and have excelled in the job market. For more details, call us or visit our Thika main campus at Alisa Plaza. Jordan College of Technology Thika, a legacy of quality training and academic excellence.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back. You're watching TV47 Weekend. Now, Susan Waititu, the widow to the late Juja Member of Parliament Francis Munywa Waititu, will flag the Jubilee Party ticket in the upcoming by-elections. She won today's primaries that attracted 5 contestants after garnering 1,596 votes. The nomination exercise experienced a low voter turnout, with some of her competitors alleging voter bribery. She had earlier on dismissed claims that she is being favored by Jubilee Party. The party also held primaries in Ruri Ward, Nyandarua County.
Wapiga kula, hiyo uchaguzi haikuagi ya ukweli na haki. Lakini wapiga kula wa Juja ni watu tofauti sana. Wakipata pesa wanakula, lakini wanakuja wanapigia ule kiongozi, kwa sababu kula ni siri.
Ni kuwa Jubilee Party ni party yenye iko na, it's a justful party. Ni party yenye iko na kutosheleza kwa uchaguzi, na ndio maana wameamua tukuje mpaka kwa nominations kama vile inafaa, na ndio sote tuweze kusimama tuende kwa debe sote, na ndio mwenye ataibuka mshindi kwa huu uchaguzi akuwe amechaguliwa kwa imani.
Well, we wish her the best of luck in that upcoming by-election. Now, over 775,000 residents of Mandera County and her neighbors are a step away from a humanitarian crisis if no effective mitigation efforts are put in place in the coming weeks. Following months of drought, the center is no longer able to hold in the region where residents for decades have grown used to dry spell, with the efforts to curb the ravaging drought by county authorities becoming increasingly overwhelmed. And as David Mudoka now reports, livelihoods continue to be put at risk by the drought crisis amid other imposing dangers such as the year-old locust invasion and banditry.
These are the scenes that welcome you to Takaba South, one of the worst hit regions by drought in the dry Mandera County. Carcasses of camels, widely referred to as ships of the desert due to their endurance even in the harshest of deserts, lie on bare earth. The region has not received even a drop of rain in the past 2 years. More camels, goats and cows continue to drop dead by the hour. Here, every tick of the clock is a matter between life and death, with the menacing dry spell stretching into the horizons and threatening to rip bare the only livelihood known to the Mandera people, pastoralism. With the humanitarian crisis in the offing in Mandera, this borehole in the heart of Takaba is the only hope for survival for tens of thousands of men, women, children and livestock. Some of the livestock, accompanied by herders, have been forced to trek for tens of kilometers to quench their thirst. But some have not been able to make it here, succumbing to dehydration. And among those who have been able to defy the pangs of thirst, some died due to exhaustion. But the sad tale does not end there. Some of the livestock, too thirsty, have often drunk to their death, while others instantly drop dead on the queue.
First thing in the morning, mbuzi ndio taanza kunywa maji. Baada ya mbuzi, ng'ombe ndio taanza. Baada ya ng'ombe, kuanzia saa 7 saa 8 ndio ngamia anaingia. Magari inakaa park hapa apati maji, tulisema magari tashota usiku.
The journey back is much harder for the pastoralists and their livestock, who are forced to use terrains invaded by bandits on their way back to their homes or in search for greener pastures.
Locust ilikuwa mingi. Hii ndio inakuwa barabara ya locust. Paka hata sasa inaweza kusema sisi hapana wataalamu, lakini vile tunasemanga mifugo imeanza kuhara. Hii mifugo ya Takaba South yote, gamia, ng'ombe, mbuzi zinahara, zinaanza kukufa.
It is only a matter of days before thirst strikes again and the cycle begins from the top.
Wananchi na mnyama kama gombe, kama mbuzi, kama gamia ile na konda na shinda kufika.
Hii borehole moja hatutoshi sisi. Tunaomba survey ifanywe, borehole nyingine iongezewe sisi. Ama in future pia tunaomba mega dam.
With this increase in demand for water in Takaba, the county government of Mandera has made it a routine to bring water closer to residents through bowsers to fill the glaring gap. With the same routine, cows and camels take turns in drinking water from the troughs before residents and herders can quench their thirst. Once they have drunk to their fill, it is time to return home, unsure when the bowsers will return. But some regions in Mandera are not so lucky. The troughs that have been reliable for the past years are no longer receiving water. They are a shadow of their former self, literally gathering the thick brown Mandera dust.
The last 2 seasons of rain, in the October, November 2020 and April, May 2020, failed in the county. So only we never received much, less than 20%.
At Banisa town, 75 kilometers to the north, residents, some of whom have queued here for hours, are yet to get Mandera's precious commodity. This water tank is the only beacon of hope for tens of thousands of residents who are no longer receiving tap water originating from earth pans in the region. It is not a guarantee that this flow of water will last if a bowser from the county administration does not arrive in a few hours.
Hiyo jergen maji naingia kidogo tu. Kupata mtu sasa, mtu anaweza kaa hapa mpaka jioni kwa ajili ya hiyo maji, vile watu wako wengi. Tungependa magari zikiletwa ziwekwe tu hapa tupelekewe nje.
Shule inafunga, madarasa inafunga, hoteli inafunga, kila biashara yote anasimama.
We have 320 water tracking centers, and of that is 220 are for livestock water tracking. What we are doing to mitigate this drought is we are doing water tracking to all those centers, 320.
It was not always like this. This spot was not as popular as it is now, with residents who used to receive tap water in their compounds. This tank too received a constant supply of the water until earth pans in the region dried up. The pans are now a huge web of cracks, save for this pan that is now a puddle of mud, common with creatures of the air. In anticipation of rains that no one knows when they will pound the earth, the county government is in a race against time to desilt pans that have over the years become prone to siltation.
When it rains, we need to harvest and prepare the reservoirs for the coming rains so that we can harvest enough runoff to be used, stored and used during the dry spell in future.
Plans to drill more boreholes in Mandera are also underway amid the risk of drilling in vain.
We are also drilling contingency boreholes, which we will drill 64 of them. 44 are successful, of that 35 are equipped, and that is able to produce more water in terms of about 9 million liters per day.
For the residents, taking a day at a time is the norm, as they hold on to every ounce of hope that when the sun goes down, the stars will come out. David Mudhoka, TV47, Mandera County.
Well, a very well done story on the looming humanitarian crisis in Mandera County there by our very own David Mudhoka. Keep tweeting at TV47KE. The hashtag to use is Mandera is dry. Now, the announcement by the Higher Education Loans Board held that it will commence the disbursement of funds to students after receiving 2.8 billion shillings from the National Treasury comes as a relief to thousands of students in higher learning institutions. Many depend on HELB loans for fees and upkeep since its inception in 1995. However, as Daniel Masiza found out, many students claim the HELB funds are never sufficient, and some have opted to be creative in order to navigate the rough economic terrain.
Over the years, there have been complaints and demonstrations from students of various higher learning institutions, giving the government ultimatums to release HELB funds in order to save them from starvation while in campus. However, some students have taken up the challenge as an opportunity to engage in some meaningful ventures that can keep them going. TV47 caught up with some of these students whose main goal is to turn impossibilities into possibilities. For Brian Adere, a venture into the catering industry was not a bad idea after all.
You don't have to, that you can use your skills to build yourselves. You don't have to have a capital or something. And this place was inspired by my family. They inspired me. And also plus some of the challenges that we were going through when I was at school. Like when I'm applying for HELB, you can't access HELB loan easily. Even if you access it, it is not enough for what you want to do, like if to pay your fees or anything. And also I wanted to be independent. Like I didn't want to depend highly on my mom, since my mom is a single mom. But it's so unfortunate, like right now, because of whatever is going on, the pandemic and all, we don't have much traffic, but we are dealing majorly with deliveries. We are dealing with outside deliveries, of which is a good cause for us as well.
This is not just beneficial to Adere, it also opened up an opportunity for Mark Mbeda, also a student, to put his skills into practice with a focus on boosting the current diet on the table in many households.
It's all about you bringing change. It's not a must to be employed, but you can be your self-employed person and bring some employing to the world.
On the other hand, the effects of COVID-19 pandemic brought a paradigm shift in Arwa Faisal's life, a fourth-year student.
And the owner of Azteca's Enterprise, which is a PS gaming shop. So we opened recently, about 2 months ago, but this has been an idea that came up around last year, September. So we're just working around it and seeing how we can do it. So what inspired me was it was really such a tough time with, COVID and not having an allowance and being around school. So there's something that I had to do. So I thought of having a PS place because I like to game. I like to play FIFA. So that's how this came about. So one thing I would just like to say is I'd just like to encourage people out there to take an initiative to start something, No dream is too big. The first thing is always to take that first step. That's always the hardest part. So just take that first step, come up with an idea, look into it, how you're going to implement it, and go on.
Brianna, Mark and Faisal are just examples of students who have taken upon themselves the challenge of changing challenges into possibilities and opportunities. Daniel Masiza, TV.
Well, thank you, Daniel. It's time to take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with more. Stay tuned.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories. At Trisent School of Medical Health, Science and Technology, we offer highly competitive courses tailor-made to suit your needs. These include certificate and diploma in theatre technology, medical engineering, nutrition and dietetics, radiography and sonography, science lab, health records, environmental health science, counseling psychology, applied biology, social work and community development, information and communication technology, among others. Register now at our Nairobi campus in Nairobi West around Nyayo National Stadium on 0700-129536. Our Juja campus next to Jomo Kenyatta University on 0700-000760. And our Kisumu campus opposite Swan Center, Oginga Odinga Street on 0703-201229. Trisent School of Medical Health, Science and Technology, where careers come to...
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari. Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
UIP Real Estate is here to end your search for land because we have the ideal land just for you. Land that's close to the most anticipated Silicon Valley in Africa, Konza City. A prime location that is convenient to the modern lifestyle and has ticked off all the boxes of basic amenities. Worried about the distance? Our prime land is only a property that is within the Konza locality of Mombasa Road, 1.2 kilometers from Konza Isinya bypass and also 500 meters from the proposed Nairobi-Mombasa Expressway. With the under construction of JKIA Westlands Superhighway, this will shorten the distance by 1 hour fastway in, out and away from all the hustle and bustle of Nairobi City, or should we call it Kanairo? What are you waiting for? Whether you are looking to buy and build or invest, book prime land with us now and be sure of high returns on your investment. Call us on 0708423244 or email us at info@uip.co.ke or visit our website www.uip.co.ke. UIP Real Estate, the home of affordable land. You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back. You're watching TV47 Weekend. Now, tea farmers from 60 factories in Murang'a County have elected new directors 1 week after President Uhuru Kenyatta signed an executive order meant to assert reforms in the tea sector. In a highly guarded exercise, farmers from Njunu, Makomboki, Nduti, Kanyanyaini, Gidhambo, and Ikumbi factories congregated in their areas to oust the current directors and elect new ones. 4 other factories within the county are scheduled to conduct their elections on the 31st of March.
Amefanyika hapo, tumefurahia kwa sababu tumekuwa tukinyanyaswa sana na wao director tulikuwa tumewachagua beleni. Kwa hivyo tumefurahi na tunakubali Mungu atatusaidia tupate kitu kwa mfuko, kwa sababu tunafanyanga kazi bila faida.
Tumekuwa tukitarajia, tumekuwa na shida ya hii madirector. Hata hapa tumechaguana, hatuna ukweli kabisa, kwa sababu wakifika huko Jono sijui ni nini wanakulaga. Wakati nilikuwa ile councillor, tulipigana na factory, nilipigana hiyo factory, nikapigana naye mpaka wakaturudishia shilingi 2. Sasa kuacha madirector walioko, sasa wao ndio wametusumbua zaidi. Sasa hawa tunatarajia tuone kama watageuza hata galau kidogo.
On Monday they will go to the factories and take over as directors. They will be facilitated, as government has said, to ensure that the will of the farmer is the one that takes the day, carries the day. Anyone who feels that they are aggrieved, you know, it's a democratic space. The judiciary is there. They can always go to court.
Maji ikifika, Jumatatu ikifika, sisi wote tunaenda kule kwa factory, tumwambie manager, sasa haa ndio wana board mpya. Na sasa atupatie chochote kinahusu Juno, tuseme kama ni seal, ama ni kazi nyingine yote, ama ni stock or whatever. Everything, kila kitu ambayo kinahusu Juno, sasa hawa wana directors wapya ndio wanasimamia.
Pupils, teachers and parents of St. Charles Lwanga Cyprus Primary School in Kwanza, Trans Nzoia County have every reason to celebrate. This is after well-wishers chipped in and constructed $4 trains after TV47 highlighted the dire situation in the school that had been issued with a closure notice. Boniface Barasa with the details.
St. Charles Lwanga Cyprus in Kwanza constituency hit the headlines for lack of proper sanitation facilities. This is after Public Health Department served the school with a notice of closure until the mess is fixed. The short notice caught the attention of well-wishers.
Kama bomb chair nilikuwa nimepokea barua ya kwamba shule itafungwa, lakini wakati wageni walisikia hiyo nduru ambayo sisi tulipiga, walikuja na wakatutengenezea vyoo. Mpaka sasa Wizara ya Afya iliidhinisha ya kwamba hii shule iko sawa na shule itaendelea.
Sisi kama marafiki tulirespond kwa hicho kilio kwamba hatungeweza kukubali shule ifungwe kwa kitu ambaye sisi kama wazazi na marafiki tunaweza kujikakamua ili angalau tuweke hata kama ni vyoo vichache.
The closure notice worried KCP candidates because it will have affected their preparations. The support comes as a sigh of relief to the candidates.
Korona ilikuja na tulikuwa tunataka kufungiwa shule na tuko katika kidato cha 8 hatungeweza kufanya mtihani na tumeshafungiwa shule, na kitu tunamshukuru kwa sababu atuokoa.
Kulikuwa na tatizo kwa sababu alikuwa anataka kufunga shule yetu kwa sababu hatukuwa na macho, hatukuwa hata na madarasa, lakini kwa hiari ya Mwenyezi Mungu kuna msamaria mwema ambaye anaitwa Philemon Samuel akajitokeza kisha akatujengea macho.
Parents and education stakeholders have challenged leaders to be more responsible in executing their duties by creating a conducive environment for learners.
Na tunashukuru sana wale wote walipartner kuhakikisha kwamba hii project inakuwa successful. Kitu ambacho tungependa kuomba tu ni pia kwamba leadership wasifanye tuonekana kama beggars, ati kwamba lazima tuombe. Ni haki yao watoto kupata mazingira mzuri ya kusomea.
Haswa wale ambao wako mamlakani sasa hivi, ni jukumu lao kuhakikisha kwamba mazingira ya shule, kuhakikisha kwamba mazingira hayo ni nzuri.
The school has over 800 pupils and 67 of them will sit for their KCP starting on Monday. Boniface Barasa, TV47, Trans Nzoia County.
Now, the Kenya National Highway Authority, KENHA, has warned heavy commercial vehicle drivers that any load of over 10 tons and above, will attract a penalty of more than 800,000 shillings. This penalty is penned under the second phase of the East African Community 2021 to 2030 Act in a bid to ensure that there is no motivation to overload at any given time. Speaking at the Busia Polytechnic during the Road Users Committee open session, the officer in charge of Axle Load Control, Dennis Cheriot, noted that they have automated the operations at all the 11 static weigh bridges countrywide, urging Kenyans to support the authority for safety purposes on the roads. Cheriot further cautioned drivers with any vehicle with a gross weight of 3,500 kgs and above to divert to the weigh bridge for weighing, failure to which will classify the offence as transgression that is punishable by law.
From the year 2021 to 2030, any overload of 10 tons and above will attract a penalty of around 835,000. And this is actually to ensure that there is no motivation to overload at any given time, so that we are able to protect our very, very expensive road asset. So what I want to say, we want to urge everyone, every patriotic Kenyan, to support the authority and any other authority who are trying their best to protect this road.
Now, 2 suspects have been arrested in Kisumu after being found in possession of cartons of contraband alcohol and several liters of illicit brew. Addressing the press, Kisumu Central OCPD Peter Katam said the suspects were arrested inside a lodging near the bus park. Following a tip-off from members of the public, the contraband brew was valued at around 300,000 shillings. He said the duo will be arraigned in court on Monday. The government says
tulipata taarifa kutoka kwa wananchi wetu watu ya community policing ya kwamba kuna nyumba moja katika town ya Kisumu ambaye inaitwa Crescent Lodge ambaye imejulikana ya kwamba huwa inauza bidhaa ambazo ni za hatia. So officers wetu ikiongozwa na inspector pamoja na OCS wakavamia hiyo nyumba ambayo inaitwa Crescent Lodge, ambapo tulipata bidhaa za vinywaji ambazo mostly tunaziita uncustomed goods. Tulishika watu wawili ambao tutawapeleka kotini.
Now, the government says it is determined to overcome the impacts of the novel coronavirus pandemic on the country's tourism sector. Government spokesperson Cyrus Oguna says the state is putting great efforts to reactivate the tourism industry, which has been one of the economic sectors hardest hit by the pandemic. He said unprecedented measures to contain the virus, such as restrictions on travel, have brought the tourism economy to a standstill. Speaking to the media in Mombasa at the scenic Mama Ngina Waterfront Park, Oguna said lockdown measures that have kept away foreign travelers have dealt the sector a huge blow.
Utalii kwa mchango wake kwa uchumi wetu wa nchi ina takriban 9.3, ambao ni mchango mkubwa sana, lakini pia inaajiri watu milioni 2.5 kwa pamoja. Kuna wale ambao wanaajiriwa moja kwa moja, lakini pia kuna wale ambao wamepata ajira kutokana na sekta hii ya utalii. Kwa hivyo nyakati ambazo tumekuwa na janga hili la corona, sekta hii ya utalii iliweza kuathirika pakubwa mno. Wala sio hiyo peke yake. Tunajua kuna sekta nyingi ambazo zimeathirika, sekta ya usafiri, sekta ya uchukuzi, sekta ya elimu na mengine mengi. Ambapo kufikia wakati huu kwa ujumla sekta hiyo imepoteza nafasi za kazi karibu milioni 1.2. Kwa hivyo juhudi za serikali kwa sasa hivi ni kuweza kuangalia jinsi gani ya kuweza kusaidia sekta hii iweze kuinuka nyakati ambazo corona itakuwa imetuacha ama itakuwa imeondoka. Juhudi hizo hazitafua dafu nyakati ambazo hoteli hazijakuwa tayari kwa njia nyingi, iwe ni njia ya usafi, Hii ni njia ya kuboresha muundo msingi kwa hoteli, iwe ni njia ya kuweza kufundisha wafanyikazi, iwe ni njia ya kuweza kuboresha internet kwa mahoteli. Kwa hivyo kwa wakati huu tunapopigana janga hili, serikali ikaona ni vizuri itoe msaada kwa hoteli hizi ama kwa biashara hizi, ili waweze kujiandaa kwamba nyakati ambazo ugonjwa huu utakapoondoka kabisa ama itakuwa imedhibitiwa, basi tutakuwa katika hali nzuri ya kuweza kupokea watalii na wageni wengine.
Now, the Principal Secretary for ICT and Innovations, Jerome Ochieng, has underscored the government's commitment to accelerate gigabit broadband to meet the growing demand for internet in the country. The PS, who was addressing the media after touring Mombasa Telecom House, said the government will go out of its way to improve and upgrade the country's technological infrastructure to ramp up internet access across the country.
The reason why we are making this visit here today is that you realize that yesterday we were meeting the committee of the Senate on Information, Communication and Technology with the aim of appraising the Senate committee on the progress that we are making with respect to various projects that we are doing within the ICT sector. And quite a number of things have come up. And one of the most important things that has come up is that we've realized that COVID has made us think differently and also work differently. What we are saying is that the internet has become our office, the internet has become our schools, the internet has become our classes, the internet has become our churches and mosques and prayer places. The internet is now becoming everything because we are all now more or less becoming too much dependent on the internet. We have a project here that we